Welcome to Planet Grape Wine Review Podcast. I'm here with Catherine Fallis, Master Sommelier and founder of Planet Grape Wine Review. I'm Deborah Parker Wong, Global Wine Editor for Somm Journal. Happy to be here, Catherine.
Thank you. This is fun. Let's taste some great wines. Why is there a sheep, by the way?
Look at him. He's checking us out. He wants in on the action.
I guess
Where
so.
are we today in the podcast?
Well, so we're talking about green wines today. Green wines encompassing wines that are farmed sustainably, farmed organically, or farmed biodynamically. So that group of wines, you can shorten it to SOB, sustainable, organic, biodynamic. Why not? Some people even use that on their wine list as a way of coding SOB, coding the wines.
Okay.
There's another category that we're not talking about today, which is kind of in this grouping, which is called natural wines, but that's a whole nother discussion because those really aren't in any official categories, so to speak, as of yet. So we're going to be tasting three wines. Sustainable farming is very, very kind of much of a holistic approach where we're thinking about not just the humans, not just the animals, not just the soil, but the whole environment and how everybody interacts and trying to keep it a natural chain of things where our impact doesn't really have a negative impact on the animals or the soil and vice versa. So kind of that circular holistic approach. And the three wines we're tasting today are all certified sustainable. So we'll talk about that.
Fantastic. So you have the sustainable slide up. So would we like to start with the first one?
Are you saying you're ready to drink?
I'm ready to drink. You got it. Absolutely.
So the first wine is from New Zealand, one of my favorite countries in the world. And it's called Yalin's Sauvignon Blanc, but it is a single block. It's the S1 single vineyard, and this is in the Awatere Valley in Marlborough. So Marlborough, very famous. And you're looking at this vineyard on the slide. It's right over the coast. It's literally if the sheep went a little bit too far, they would fall down to the beach about 100 feet down. Don't do that. And visitors that are tasting it, don't do that either.
You can see the bay from the vineyard. Absolutely.
You can not only see it, you smell it, you feel it, just like we do here in California, many of our coastal vineyards. And the whole environment here is incredibly holistic, and they're certified by the New Zealand wine growers. And so this is one of those wines that just to me is so evocative of its site. It's a single coastal vineyard. And I think you can kind of, when you're smelling and tasting this, it's not your typical New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc.
It's very pungent, that's for sure. It's really pronounced in the aroma profile, which is fantastic. So that's an identifier.
Yes.
I know where I am in the world.
You know where you are, but it's not, banging you over the head.
Oh,
it's
absolutely. It's very floral. A lot of fruit.
And a nice chalkiness as well, along with a little bit of lemongrass. What did I write about this? I've got a review of this one.
Oh, I had put the slide up there.
A little bit of tarragon in there, a little bit of lemon zest guava.
Absolutely, guava, for sure. It's really, it's the first thing that strikes me is the tropical fruit. Absolutely.
Nice. Yeah. And so this is an example of sustainable wine growing. We've got another sustainable wine, this one from California. And this is a rosé, which is, year-round now. It's good all year round. And it's a Rhone blend with a twist. And the twist is Picpoul Blanc added to Grenache and Mourvedre. And this is
Picpoul Blanc, one of my favorite varieties from the Languedoc, from southern France. The lip stinger.
The lip stinger.
Where did you find that on the Central Coast?
Well, this is actually from the Adelaide district within Paso Robles.
Limestone.
And so, so rosé. Again, there's so many rosés on the market right now, and there's so many, unfortunately, not very good rosés on the market right now because, it's such a popular category. And again, I wanted to recommend to you, everyone out there putting a wine list together, your beverage program, you want smaller production wines where it makes sense for you, where you can logistically find them. This is Halter Ranch. And when we talked about sustainable farming, I had the SIP certified image up there.
Let's look at that slide.
Yeah, so SIP certified is one of California's sustainable farming certification programs.
Let's see. We've got sustainable farming, and this is SIP.
Yes.
We showed this slide.
So the SIP certified is one of our sustainability and practice certifications in California are very, very popular. And so you want to make sure there is something on the back of the bottle that certifies that the wine is farmed sustainably. Before we taste this, let's look at our next two slides.
Okay.
Let's look at the organic farming. And so this is another category to look at. Organic farming is talking about clean farming. So we're not talking about
no synthetic inputs.
Right. So we're not talking about necessarily the environment, the people, the resources, how much water you're using or power or anything like that. It's simply clean natural farming.
Well, organic farming does allow things like copper and sulfur in the vineyard, though.
They do, and
those
so
are synthetic inputs.
we, you know, this is a global discussion. California has its own certification, which allows certain things.
Yes,
CCOF.
CCOF.
And so whatever, when you hear the word organic, just look at the back label and see who is the certification and see if it's just organically farmed or organically farmed and organically produced, because these are separate certifications.
Right. Quite often you'll see made with organically grown grapes, but that's a boost of confidence, I think, for a consumer purchasing a wine.
And it's just something, you know, the consumer hears the word organic, they're already, you know, happy. But for you in the trade to know, dig a little bit deeper and make sure you have a qualifier on the back label and you know exactly what you're getting.
Well, let's look at this final slide.
And then the final tier, if you would, some consider it the highest tier.
The apex of sustainable.
And it's certainly the oldest, other than the Farmer's Almanac, biodynamics, working with the sun and the moon. And where's our little sheep? Our little sheep. There he is. Hi. So we're working with the Animalis. You know, Shannon Ridge has sheep, you know, eating the leaves to do the leaf thinning.
For leafing, sure.
And
so this is Demeter.
So Demeter is one of the global certification options, and there's zero tolerance for anything added, no additives whatsoever.
Well, they have their own preparations and things that they use that are all botanically based preparations and things like that.
Yes, so you're being nice. They put cow poop in a cow barn.
Yeah, well,
not tableside language.
It's all down with Mother
natural.
Nature, right? Absolutely, but it follows the lunar calendar, which I appreciate.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's very, very cool. It's, you know, all of these things are good for the environment. In some cases, they're good for the people, and they're good for the plants and the animals and the whole system. And so you're just getting a cleaner, greener wine, if you will. And this is a win-win for everyone.
Absolutely.
So,
and this is the
Halter Ranch.
The Halter Ranch.
Yeah. So
Halter Ranch Rosé.
And so it's a lovely kind of full-bodied California rosé. It's a little bit richer than a Provençal rosé. It's got that California.
Something from Côte de Provence. It's going to be lighter. This is has a little more weight, a little more dry extract, a little more structure, we might say.
Yeah, so it's easy to pair. It's easy to have on its own as a cocktail. A nice Central Coast rosé, Grenache Mourvedre, and a little bit of that.
My favorite, Picot de Panay, the lip stinger. Yeah, can't get enough of that. All right.
And then our third wine, we're returning to New Zealand one more time. New Zealand does a lot of sustainable farming, and they're certifying sticker. We showed you the New Zealand sustainable farming. And so this is actually a lovely red wine. Now, Villa Maria is a larger brand, a brand that certainly has a lot of wine in the supermarkets. Certainly of their private bin tier of wine, Sauvignon Blanc, Pinot Noir. This is a smaller lot wine. It's from Hawke's Bay, not Marlborough. So we're in the North Island.
North Island. Yeah,
so we're in
Hawke's
the warmer
Bay.
part of the
Are
country.
we at Gimlet Gravels, or we're just a Hawke's Bay?
We're close. We're very close. For this particular wine, we're just Hawke's Bay, larger appellation. And this is a blend. Every year it's slightly different. This is not only Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot as they have every year, but this year has a little bit of Malbec as well. So depending on the
I think you can see the Malbec in there. It's quite purpley. Really, the Malbec's adding some nice color.
And there's that little violet kind of chocolate note that you get from Argentina. But Hawke's Bay is a very unique part of the world, as is Marlborough and the parts of the South Island. Everything in New Zealand is totally unique, and I love the fact that this has the New World richness and ripeness and plushness and that bright fruit.
Oh my gosh, it's so bright on the palate. The acid is really driving the mid palate here and really pushing, extending the length and the finish of the wine. delicious. I love it. It's so lively.
Mm.
You're certainly not going to feel tired after drinking a glass of this one.
So even in this warmer area of New Zealand, on the North Island, Hawke's Bay, really warm, you can ripen Cabernet Sauvignon,
Oh, yeah,
Syrah,
absolutely.
Malbec, Merlot. It's still got a tart, dry finish from high natural acid, and that is the beauty of these wines. Not only for my personal, enjoyment and my weird palate, but for food. So
Yeah.
this makes it
Great at table.
easy
Perfect
to take another
at
bite of
table.
your dish. Showcases
Absolutely.
the food, makes the food taste better if that's possible, because we know all of you chefs are doing
Working very hard
the
out there.
utmost
Yeah,
with your food.
absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
these are nice and clean. They're green. They're a great choice, and they should definitely be on your radar. They're beautifully priced as well. And if you're looking for something for staff training, I recommend my latest book, which is 10 Grapes to Know. It's a really kind of fun but informative guide to 10 grapes, and it's been really well received, especially by the younger, your servers, your bartenders, your folks that are not studying.
Well, you have
wine.
dating advice in there as well too,
I have
right?
dating advice in there.
That's the reception.
Yes, and there are celebrities attached to every grape.
Yes,
so
and there's really fun profiles on the grapes as well too.
Thank
So
you.
a lot of humor and kind of modern context for
Yes.
the whole enjoyment of wine and the enjoyment of what we're here doing today.
Yes. Great.
Well, thanks, Catherine, for having me today. We're
Thank
here
you,
with
Deborah.
Planet Grape Wine Review Podcast number 2.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And cheers to our little sheep.
Ah, you can't have any.